conservation essentially means the wise use of a resource. So unfortunately that puts a anthropogenic factor in. Wise is a human decision, what's wise or what's unwise. When you have very few people in the landscape living simply, as the original Tasmanians were, a very complex culture, but living simply, hunter-gathering, this sort of place can absorb a lot of that. But the modern dilemma with turning a place like this into a conservation asset and maintaining it for a long time is how do you cope with lots more people?
Now where I live, I'm very aware of the hugely increased pressure on the native wildlife and the space that it's got to live in fact. So places like Chauncy Vale are extremely precious because the native animals in Tasmania have got as much more right to be here than we have really, and yet their habitat's being encroached on all the time.
This place was privately owned with the Chaunceys. It was bequeathed to the University of Tasmania, an amazingly generous thing. But the university didn't use the place. It was taken for granted, and so that bequeath was reversed and it was given to a local council. It was then open to the public in a much more useful, positive fashion.
Council take the responsibility of owning Chauncy Vale very seriously. It's a huge responsibility and an honour to be bequeathed this country. Council's role in that is looking after the infrastructure so that people can come and have a seamless experience both in the visitor precinct area and also on the tracks where they're wanting to go and look at the caves. We have to keep them accessible, keep people safe, and also that vision of protecting this area for education and nature conservation.
It'd be good if a younger generation could be involved in seeing how, the management of it and to preserve all the important environmental, historical and the physical environment of it, and to make sure that its position's enhanced as a very special place.
There's a responsibility in terms of the impacts that come along over time. Changes that are occurring are, for example, Californian thistle, which is blowing in from farmland and getting established on the river flats up the valley, and that takes a lot of effort every year to control those. It's a dynamic environment and a lot of things happen such as wildfire, dry periods now with climate change, so we're seeing loss of trees, changes in species composition.
To my mind, the arguments are exactly the same as I would apply to Antarctica or anywhere else. You need ambassadors. Now you've got like-minded neighbours in conservation, so that adds to security.
Tasmanian Land Conservancy have the land behind us now, and they're helping to jointly manage both properties.
We have a caretaker program as well, which is a very important part of managing Chauncy Vale.
To learn about Nan's story and Anton's story, and not only theirs, but all the other people connected to this place. If people have a good feeling and they feel a sense of peace and joy in a place, that's a place of national importance and a place that we should celebrate and visit and look after.
I think it's very important, particularly for young people who are basically looking for a way to live, that they learn how to live with nature. And I think it's very important that we realise that we belong to the land. The land is not just for our use, it's for the use of everything. And it can give you a great sense of security and peace to learn how to live with the land and do things rightly by it.